Where in the world are you?
I am in LA right now
Amazing. When did you move to LA?
in 2019.
Oh, right before the pandemic.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, at the end of 2019.
It sounds like I was in the pandemic for the beginning of the. I was in LA for the beginning. I was in the pandemic.
I think we're all in there.
Yeah. I was in LA for the beginning of the pandemic, and that was such a weird place to be for the pandemic. How was that for you?
I mean, it was good and bad. I think because we moved here, like during the pandemic, we got a really good pandemic deal on our apartment. Like rent was really, we locked it in when it was like, when the market was like at its lowest.
That's amazing.
So we took advantage of that for a few years. But yeah, no, but it was a little weird moving to a new city and then like not being able to explore at all, except for like the block we lived on.
That is so wild. Did you move with a friend or with a partner or something?
Yeah, friends and partner. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so you had multiple. I found that we had roommates in the pandemic, and I mean, although we were all locked down together, it was nice to. I can't imagine living alone would have been so.
Oh
brutal.
yeah, no. I don't know if I would have been able to handle that.
Yeah, same. I know. Oh man, my few friends who were living alone, it was just such a weird time.
I would have gotten a pet for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Are you liking LA now?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I found it to be a really I think it was a good place for me at the period of my life I was at, but it was also a weird place for me. I'm from Oregon. I mean, you're from a very different place as well, but I found it to be, I don't know, it was kind of a mind trip for me.
How so? Also, where do you live now?
Well, I live on airplanes now. I've slept in an airplane bed way more than my own bed this year and last year. No, I live in Austin, Texas, technically. My stuff is there.
Okay.
I haven't been home since May, and I won't go home again like till probably December. So, but my stuff is there, and I do love it. Although I moved there in the pandemic. I was in LA, then I moved there, which was like driving across the United States to move in was weird. But so I also haven't really explored it and then the world opened up and I started touring a lot. So I haven't really I don't feel like I know that city at all yet, which is weird. But yeah, it just I guess I'm from a place called Eugene, Oregon. And so it's very hippie and down to earth, and LA is just it's full of a city of dreams and hustlers,
right.
which is beautiful, and also it was just it was bizarre for me in a lot of ways. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to Oregon, but I know the stereotypes.
Yeah, the stereotypes are very true.
Okay,
it's 100% how it is.
Granola. People eat granola.
So granola. I mean, my parents they were deadheads and following the dead around.
Okay.
And my mom was working in a record store there. It was very. So I didn't even know what designer jeans were when I moved to California, and it blew my mind that people would pay extra money just for a brand name of a jean. I was like, what? So little just cultural things like that kind of were a trip to me, but it was cool to just see so many creatives go there and pursue their dreams. That's a special thing about that place.
Totally.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read your little bio and then ask a few questions. And so this portion will only be 5 minutes total. This is what lives on the radio show, and so fun stuff.
Cool.
And I want to say it, Shima, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that right. Okay, awesome. Oh, before I start though, J-pop. You were a J-pop singer.
Yeah.
How old were you when that was happening? Oh, 14.
Yeah. Well, I got first scouted by the label / management company when I was 14.
So how does that what does that actually look like? How does that happen? Were you walking down the street and somebody stopped you and was how did you get?
I was in the middle school musical at my school, and there was a scout who was just in the audience. Apparently, he was going to international schools and going to their school productions, which I didn't even know that the school just let random people in from the public, but. So that I got scouted.
Were you so excited when you first got that, or when you found that out that there was a scout there and they were interested in you? What did that feel like?
Yeah, I was super excited because I was 14 and and what I was told basically, and my parents were excited. And so and growing up in Japan in like a, Japanese family, they're very practical. So from a young age we're like taught that like certain career options are like not realistic, music being one of them. Anything artsy is kind of like, like uh we're just I was like, you know taught, I guess, in my family, like, you can dream of being a soccer player until you're like 8 and then like get realistic. Yeah, so I always loved music and I loved singing, but I never like considered making it a career, or like that it was even like an option, like an available option, until I was scouted, and then all of a sudden my parents were like talking about it like it was like a realistic option, and I was like, oh my god, like that means I don't have to study anymore. This is amazing.
I love that. Wait, so why do you think that your parents were supportive of that, like, or felt like that was are your parents just sort of outside the box thinkers, or is it because it was J-pop specifically?
Well, it was the second biggest label in Japan, which in Japan is, like, a lot of people don't know this, is the second largest music market in the world. We produce...
Wow.
Yeah, obviously the US is number one. But Japan is just, I mean, we were for a long time the second largest economy in the world. Now we're behind China, but so like it makes sense, So like the most successful musicians and artists in Japan are like net worth wise like as wealthy as some of the biggest American stars like Beyonce, Christina Aguilera, Celine Dion, like, but no one outside of Japan has heard of them.
That is
wild. But like net worth, like in terms of like how much money they're making is even though no one outside of this island country like has heard of them, and they're not touring the world, they're just domestic.
God, actually, it sounds kind of like that sounds amazing.
It's nice. It's nice because they can like be the most successful, like monetarily as successful as, like I said, like Celine Dion or whatever. But then they can go vacation in Italy and no one knows who they are.
How incredible is that? That actually sounds like that sounds like the way to do it. So what was your experience like pursuing that for a time?
So it started with before I was placed in any projects, before I was like before I was ready for debut, they have this like artist training program that they put.
Whoa.
So they find recruits super young. I was 14, but some of the kids there are like 11, 12. And they put them through this like artist training program where we're called like eggs. That were
what is it? What is it?
We're called eggs.
Oh, eggs! Amazing.
Yeah. So we're like the eggs of artists, like future, and so we're like it's like a incubation period or whatever.
Whoa.
So
and what are you learning?
They put us, depending on like what they're trying to develop you for, they put you in different classes. So I had singing and dancing. Actually, in the beginning, it was just singing classes for the first year, and it was like 2 or 3 times a week singing lessons. But if this label, they have models, they have influencers, they have like every aspect of the entertainment industry. So depending on like what they wanted to see you become, they might put you in like modeling classes or dance classes or acting classes. I think, so I was put in singing only at first, and then singing and dancing. But there were like other seminars too on like etiquette, or like not etiquette as it like you think of like how to use a knife properly, but like more like the etiquette of being an entertainer and being in entertainment industry, like social media literacy, or like don't post stuff on your Instagram with like logos unless you're working with them, kind of thing.
Wow, that is actually kind of a crazy. That's a really interesting thing to learn so young.
Yeah, so we signed a contract, so I'm like exclusive to them, and they're not putting me to work, but I am getting free lessons. And these are, I really learned how to sing through that. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually really incredible. Was it an overall good experience for you?
Good and bad, yeah, because the good obviously is that like all the free lessons, and I really like was able to up my skill. But bad because this J-pop and like K-pop industries in general, they really have nailed the art of making young people feel very vulnerable and like give them low self-esteem so that they never leave you, and they also are willing to do a lot more for a lot less.
Wow. Yeah, that is like, it is I always wonder like what is the self-esteem and happiness of the girls going through those sort of programs. Wow. Yeah, you
mental health is in the toilet most of the time.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, well, you seem to have come out on top, so that is impressive. I think that's a testament to your personal inner, I don't know, humanhood, or I guess. Okay, so go ahead.
No, I was just I was lucky enough to have other options. I think a lot of people, they quit school young and then they don't really have any other career options.
Oh man, so you have to quit school to do that?
No, I didn't, but some people do, or they go to like a bullshit school. But
I even heard you say like, oh, you can cuss. I heard you say, it's a serious radio. It's great. I heard you say, like depending on what they want you to be, they'll put you in these classes. Like, did you feel like you had autonomy into what you wanted to do, or was it more? Yeah, that's so fascinating. I mean,
I did not want to be a dancer, but they made me take dance lessons. And then they kept telling me, you're terrible at dancing, you'll never be a dancer. And I was like, I know! Stop making me do this!
I can't, it's so wild. Oh, well, what an experience. What a life experience at such a young age. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read your little bio blurb, and this part will be hopefully short and simple. And also feel free, if you like already went over anything, like still repeat it here, because this part will be like separate. I don't know if you'll have to touch on anything that you just touched on, but just in case.
Okay.
Shima is hold on.
Also, I think, before you start, the bio says like Shima is a half Japanese, half American. I think I want to take that out because I realized nobody specifies, like goes into detail about their ethnicity in America. You can just say Shima is a singer, whatever, from Tokyo.
Cool. Okay. Who is... Okay, cool. Welcome to Femme House Radio with your host, LP Giobbi. This week we have Shima, who is a singer and engineer raised in Tokyo, Japan. She began her music career at the age of 14 as a J-pop singer. Ultimately deciding that the commercial pop world was not for her, she moved to the U.S. at age 18 to study music and computer engineering at the University of Miami, where she discovered her passion for electronic dance music. After graduation, she produced music in her spare time, working full-time as a software developer. During the pandemic, she decided to chase her dreams, making the switch to music full-time to prepare her debut album. 3 years in the making, Welcome to Shima Jima is a showcase of razor-sharp style, versatility, and the sound of a visionary artistic voice set free. Welcome to Femme House Radio, Shima. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
What is your origin? What is your origin story? How did you get into producing music?
So I got into music, as the bio said, when I was 14 as a J-pop singer, and during my time there, I realized I really liked music and I wanted to continue working in the music industry and make it my career, but I did not really like creatively, or like I didn't really like the music that we were putting out, and I had no control or say in the songs or the lyrics or any of that. So in my own like free time, I think the first beat I made on GarageBand was sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, I just...
And how did you even think, I'm going to go into GarageBand, I'm going to make a beat? Like, what led you there?
I was listening to Jay Dilla on the train or the bus or something.
I am obsessed with you. I'm officially obsessed with you.
Because I was in like a kind of like a artsy hipster friend group in high school, and they were like into like Joey Badass, Jay Dilla, Nicholas Jar, like really.
Wow, that's so cool. That is not, my friends were not that cool in high school.
And so they like got me into it, and I was listening to I remember, I don't remember exactly which track it was, but I was listening to like a specific Jay Dilla beat on the train or the bus or something, and I was like, I feel like I could make this something similar.
I love that feeling, that moment. I feel like I could do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I like came up with the drum pattern in my head, like, and I was like, don't forget it. So I'm like repeating it in my head the whole way home. And then I got home and I opened my laptop and I like clicked around until, and just only using like the native GarageBand.
That is so
sounds,
awesome.
right?
And when you completed it, what did that feel like? Like, what did that feel like in your body, like making your first beat, no matter how good or bad it was?
I uploaded it on SoundCloud, and then I sent it to my friends, and then my the same friend who had introduced me to Jay Dilla and Nicholas Jar and all that, he like listened to it, and the next day at school I showed it to him. He listened to it in front of me, and he looked at me and he said, "You could be a beat producer," and I was like, "No way."
That is so awesome. What, like, just like a small moment, you hear something, you think, and actually it was like a life transforming experience for you to go home and make that. And also going to University of Miami and studying music and computer engineering. I mean, how you were working as a full-time software developer? How intense was that?
I worked at a chill company, so it wasn't intense.
Okay, good.
It was very chill.
What are your sources of influence and inspiration when making music?
Listening to other music, I guess. When I feel the most inspired is when I hear I don't know if that's probably everybody, but
actually I get, when I ask that question to people, it varies greatly, but actually rarely do I hear other music. But I am only moved to make other music when I hear something and I'm like, oh, I feel like I could this kind of same idea, or these chords are so beautiful, I need to go and try to learn them. And then when I'm never going to be as good, and so from there something else happens. But it's always music that inspires me to make music too.
Yeah, I've heard some people say like looking at the sunset, and I'm like, that's never happened.
Dude, 100%. I'm always like, wow, what is, like, how does that even translate?
Like they're lying.
What is your overall goal with this project, if you have one?
Yeah, so my overall goal is to, I guess, just get out like things that, I want to, there's music that I really want to exist and it doesn't exist, so I'm trying to create it. I have searched and I can't find it, and that is like electronic music but with traditional Japanese instruments and influences. There is like certain types of modern music, like not dubstep, what is it, there's a lot of like hip hop, like lo-fi hip hop with like traditional Japanese influences. Cool. But in terms of like the specific kind of music that I want to make, like more ethereal electronic music like Rufus Du Sol or Odessa, there's a handful of songs out there that are like, for example, by Odessa, that are like sampling traditional Japanese instruments, but it's not widespread enough. Yeah, it's not its own genre yet, and I want to make this a genre.
Heck yes. Last question for you. What would you tell your younger self, that girl who is taking J-pop classes and learning how to sing, and what advice would you give her?
Oh, that's a great question. I would tell her that she's a lot more capable than she thinks she is.
You're gonna make me cry.
I know. I think this is what every female producer like had to overcome, like so much self-doubt. you know, yeah.
Yeah, truly. Like, I can do this. I am good enough. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's hard when you don't see yourself represented. Well, thank you so much for being, thank you so much for joining us at Femme House Radio. We think that you are incredible, you are amazing, and that you definitely need to be out there in the world. Your music is really next level. So thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks so much for having me and, you know, lifting up other people.
Thank you. It's our honor.